If you own a dumpster rental business and you're trying to get more leads through Google Ads, I'm going to show you exactly the things that I do to generate my clients more success and more leads for their dumpster rental business utilizing Google Ads. Google Ads is a very tricky platform. There are tons of settings, and I want to go over some of the settings that could be draining your budget. So let's go over my computer screen and I'll show you exactly how I set up some of my ads and things you can avoid so you don't overspend on your Google Ads. So here we are looking at my screen. We're looking at a campaign that has been actually running for a very long time. And we're gonna go over some of the metrics. If your screen does not look like this, then that means you're running an Express account. One way to know if you're running an Express account is if you look up at your address bar and it says ads.google.com/express. This means you're running an Express account versus an expert account. And so the reason you would not want to run an Express account is because it gives you almost no customization to your ads. And what happens is a lot of these settings aren't even available to you. And so you're actually losing money by not having these settings available. I know that an expert account sounds intimidating, and it actually is because it has so many more bells and whistles, but it's important that you get on an expert account because you're actually blowing more money using an Express account. So it doesn't really make sense to even be running an Express account just to make it easy on yourself. Once you start an expert account and you get away from the Express account, you'll be greeted with an interface that looks like this. And so let's go over some of the things on this interface that you're going to be most likely using and some of the settings that are going to be the most important to you. So the way that Google breaks down their Google Ads is through campaigns. So you'll have individual campaigns for different things that you might be targeting. And under those campaigns, you'll have different ad groups. So for example, if you're running a dumpster rental business and you have a campaign that is titled dumpster rentals, then you might have it separated into residential and commercial ad groups. Under those ad groups, you will have different ads that are targeting residential clients versus commercial clients. You could even take it a step further and target roofing companies, construction businesses, and have it staggered that way. Once your campaign is structured this way, the next thing you're going to want to do is find the actual keywords that you're going to want to be targeting. And keywords are specific words that you want to show up for when somebody does a search phrase, for example, dumpster rentals, Riverside, California. There are different ways to have keywords set up. You can have broad match keywords, phrase match keywords, and exact match keywords. For me, I specifically use phrase match keywords. These are basically the keywords that are under quotations at the beginning and at the end of the words. Meaning, so if we have a keyword that is phrase match as dumpster rental, and we have quotes before and at the end of it, anytime somebody searches for dumpster rentals with any word before or after will show up for that search phrase. So it's really important to use phrase match over exact match. Exact match will cost you an arm and a leg, and you definitely don't want to be overspending when you could get the exact same results through phrase match. If you've already created a campaign to target keywords, then when you create the campaign, it'll actually go through the process of adding these keywords. If you want to add new keywords to your existing campaign, I'm going to show you exactly where to go. So you want to make sure you're highlighted under campaigns. Then on this menu bar right here, you're going to go down to audience and keywords, and then you're going to click on search keywords. Here you're going to have the option to add right here with this plus sign. So for example, we're going to click on that, and it's going to ask us to choose a campaign. It'll show us our campaigns here, and we want to make sure we choose the right campaign that we want to add these keywords to. And then we're going to be greeted with this box, and this is how you add a phrase match keyword. You would add these quotes, and then you would write dumpster rental, and then quotes at the end of it. And then you would click save. And that would add this keyword to your ad group. Now, just as we have keywords, we're gonna have negative keywords. For example, if somebody's looking for something like waste management or the dump near me, stuff that is not relevant to your services. So if you're getting a lot of calls for things that you don't do, or people thinking that you're waste management, you're gonna wanna add these as negative keywords. And I'm gonna show you exactly how to do this. So under keywords where we're at, you're going to see one that says negative search keywords. You're going to click on that, and then you would add the negative search keyword with this plus sign as well. It's really important that when you add negative keywords that you also add them as phrase match, If you add them as exact match, what will happen is unless somebody types in that exact same phrase, then you won't really be blocking that search. So if I wanted to make sure that I never show for the phrase waste management, then I would add that under phrase match as a negative keyword. That way, whenever somebody types the word waste management or any of those keywords, you'll never show up for those phrases. The next part of this is to manage your search phrases. You want to make sure that you're actually actively looking at what people have searched that have triggered one of your ads to show up. And then this will show you if the people that are searching are actively looking for your services or if you're being triggered for something else that you don't serve. So if you want to know if you're showing up for the search phrases of waste management, I'm going to show you exactly where to look. So the way that you find this is you go over to Insights and Reports, and then you're going to click under search terms, and you want to make sure that you're looking under a certain amount of time period so you know exactly when these searches were made and if they're relevant to your business. So for me, I look at data between a week and 2 weeks. So if we set it to 2 weeks, we can start reading through our search phrases to see if all of these actually match up or if something is showing up for something that we don't want to show up for. So for example, if somebody's looking for the dump or a service that you don't offer, you find it here and then you utilize that search phrase and go at it as a phrase match negative keyword. That is how you're going to start blocking out these searches that you don't want to show up for. Now I want to go over some campaign settings that are totally going to save you when you're running these ads. You want to make sure that these settings are done this way, otherwise you will be bleeding out money, and this is the reason why none of your ad dollars are leading to actual leads. Under campaigns, you want to make sure that you click on campaigns, then you choose a campaign that you're currently running, click on that. Then you'll be greeted with this thing right up at the top that says campaign settings. Click on that and it'll bring up the settings of this specific campaign, and these settings are really, really important that you get correct because a lot of people are overspending by having these settings wrong. Under networks, we're going to click on this drop down, and this is what happens. I'll show you right now. This is actually a perfect example. Search network and display network need to be turned off, okay? The reason why is this little check mark right here, when it's checked on, what it's doing is it's finding Google local partner websites and it's displaying your ads. And one of the partner websites is actually a website that posts for job listings in local areas. And so if you're getting phone calls, people asking if your company's hiring, and you're just getting these over and over, this is exactly what's happening. Your ads are actually showing up on these hiring websites, and that is what's blowing your budget. If we look at this, we could probably see that like half of our budget is being blown on these Google search network partners, and you definitely don't want to be doing that. If you had this other one down here checked on, the Google display network, all that is it's showing your ad on YouTube. Now think about it this way. If you are a dumpster rental business, nobody's going to YouTube to try and hire you to bring a 20-yard dumpster to your house. So make sure that this is turned off, otherwise your ads are showing up on YouTube and it makes no sense and it's really blowing your budget. Now you saw how that was checked on when I clicked on it, and there's actually a reason why this is happening. It's under a recommendations, and if you don't have the recommendations setting turned on the right way, what will happen is this thing will turn itself back on without your consent over and over, and you'll find yourself coming back and unchecking it and then saving every time just to find it checked back on in a couple weeks, and then you'll be getting those phone calls and they'll never stop. So make sure that you have these unchecked. Hit save. Before I show you the recommendations tab, I want to show you one more setting here before we move on to the next one, and it's under locations. Under locations, these are the areas that you're servicing and that you want to target, but under location options, you want to come down to this setting down here where it says presence or people in or regularly in your included locations. You want to choose that. The first one, you definitely don't want to choose that. What will happen is you'll start showing up everywhere, because if somebody has, they live in Russia and they have interest in New York, just because they have interest in it, they'll display your ad in Russia. And so that's definitely something that you don't want to have included. You want to have this bottom one saved. and then click save. Once you've done that, we're gonna come over to the recommendations tab where we're gonna fix that other setting that is totally turning itself back on. We wanna make sure that that's not happening. So click on the recommendations tab, and right here on this setting where it says auto apply, click on that. So when you land on recommendations, you're gonna click on these drop downs, and you wanna make sure that all of these are checked off. You don't wanna have any of these boxes checked. Basically, this is what gives Google permission to create these applied suggestions and make changes to your ads without your consent. So just make sure that these are all turned off. You don't want to be using any of these because these are the settings that trigger those search partner networks and the other networks to turn themselves back on. The next thing and the last thing I'll cover in this video, because I don't want to make this video too long, there are definitely a lot of settings within Google. It would be excluded locations. So just like we included locations, we want to make sure that we have excluded locations. So you would just click on this locations tab here, and under locations you're going to have this tab that says location exclusions, and really all you want to do is you want to highlight the rest of the world in red. Red means you've excluded it, blue means you're including it. So make sure that if it's not your state, that it's red, and we're talking about everywhere. We're talking about all the other countries, all the other continents. If you don't have the rest of the country excluded or other states, you'll be getting a lot of other marketing agencies clicking on your ads out of state and trying to sell you things and making you so you're spending more money on Google, and it's definitely not a good way to do business, but it is how they do it. So make sure that you're excluding the rest of the world, just not your state, and then just including the areas that you do service. You can either target with radiuses, zip codes, or specific cities. If this was helpful, please give me a thumbs up. If you have other questions about Google Ads or questions about marketing your dumpster rental business, leave them down below. If you want to get on a one-on-one consultation so we can see how we can further help your business, you can always reach me at 503-914-7250 or visit junkremovalmoney.com. I will catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.